Hello everybody! If you want all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 946, The Art of Interpretation, Upper Advanced. Elena had spent more than a decade refining the delicate craft of simultaneous interpretation. From her booth high above the conference halls across Europe, she listened intently to speakers of many languages and rendered their words into clear English for the audience below. The work demanded absolute concentration, rapid mental agility, and a deep sensitivity to tone and implication. She prided herself on remaining invisible, a pure conduit for meaning. One autumn, she was engaged for a 3-day symposium in Geneva, devoted to the ethics of artificial intelligence. Delegates from universities, technology firms, and regulatory bodies filled the chamber. Elena sat behind the glass with her headset, converting dense technical arguments and philosophical objections into fluent English as they unfolded. The sessions ran long and the material was demanding, yet she found the intellectual intensity stimulating. During the second afternoon, a panel discussion grew particularly heated. A senior researcher from a German institute spoke at length about the risks of autonomous decision-making systems. Elena conveyed every carefully chosen phrase with precision. When the floor opened for questions, an Italian ethicist rose and delivered a passionate counter-argument. Elena followed the rapid shifts of emphasis without faltering. In that moment she felt the familiar satisfaction of bridging minds that might otherwise remain isolated by language. After the final session, she stepped out into the cool evening air and walked along the lakeside. The intensity of the day still hummed in her thoughts. She realized that the arguments she had translated were not merely technical. They touched on fundamental questions of responsibility, trust, and human agency. For years she had treated language as a transparent medium. Now she began to see it as something more active, capable of shaping the very ideas it carried. That night in her hotel room, she opened a notebook and began to write. She did not intend to produce a formal paper. She recorded impressions of the exchanges she had mediated, noting how a single word choice could soften or sharpen a claim, how silence itself could alter the force of a statement. The pages filled quickly. Over the following months, whenever her schedule allowed, she returned to the notebook and expanded the observations into longer reflections. Gradually, a coherent argument took shape. Interpretation, she proposed, was never neutral. Even the most scrupulous translator made countless micro-decisions that influenced understanding. Awareness of this responsibility, she argued, should form part of professional training. She arranged the material carefully, tested each example against her own experience, and revised until the prose felt both precise and accessible. When the manuscript was complete, she submitted it to a respected academic press. The review process was rigorous. Several readers requested clarifications and additional examples drawn from her career. Elena responded thoroughly, refining the text still further. In due course, the press accepted the work. On the day the bound volume arrived, she held it for a long moment. The arguments inside were the fruit of years spent listening with absolute attention. She placed the book on her desk, opened it at the first chapter, and read a few paragraphs aloud. The sentences sounded true. She closed the cover, knowing that the ideas would now travel further than any single conference hall, carried by users who might never sit in an interpretation booth, yet would recognize the quiet power of language carefully rendered. If you learned a new word today, please make sure to subscribe so you can practice again next time. Vocabulary notes. Conduit, meaning a person or thing that acts as a channel for transmitting something, such as information, ideas, or energy. Example, she prided herself on remaining invisible, a pure conduit for meaning. Similar words, channel, medium, vehicle, intermediary. Agility, meaning the ability to think or move quickly and easily, often with skill and precision. Example, the work demanded absolute concentration, rapid mental agility, and a deep sensitivity to tone and implication. Similar words: nimbleness, dexterity, quickness, alertness. Implication, meaning a meaning or consequence that is suggested rather than stated directly. Example, the work demanded absolute concentration, rapid mental agility, and a deep sensitivity to tone and implication. Similar words: suggestion, inference, undertone, connotation. Scrupulous, meaning extremely careful, thorough, and attentive to detail, especially in matters of accuracy or honesty. Example, even the most scrupulous translator made countless micro-decisions that influenced understanding. Similar words: meticulous, conscientious, precise, painstaking. Rigorous, meaning strict, thorough, and demanding high standards of accuracy or quality. Example, the review process was rigorous. Similar words: stringent, exacting, thorough, demanding. Story and image generated by ChatGPT. Animation generated by ClipBee. To read, listen, see all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.